shotgun freaking.
Hostile dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Okay. So it's safe to say, after the recent Streetsweeper nerf, a lot of people are probably avoiding the gun entirely, and I don't really blame them because it got hit pretty hard. I mean, it's still okay, but its effective range got hit with a nasty nerf, so it's not as enticing to use when we have other options that are just a bit better. And don't get me wrong, the time to kill on it is still the fastest outside of slug shotguns, but it just lacks that oomph at ranges. Now, shotguns, although are close range monsters, do need some love on the range department too, you know, just not past 10 meters sort of range. So let's take the spotlight off of the Streetsweeper because people have talked about it long enough, they've complained long enough. Now let's take a look at a different one and a different contender to complain about that in my book is probably the best shotgun in the game currently, at least for one-on-one engagements, and it's a gun that I would argue has always been better than the Streetsweeper. I'm talking of course about my boy, the Gallo, or as my Hispanic heritage would make me say it as, El Gallo. So let's talk about my setup for this bad boy for Season 4 and why I think it's the best, and I'm going to give you count them, two classes to try out. One for max range, one that's generally good overall. Now, I did alter my classes slightly, so be sure to at least check out those classes that I've been running. So the Gallo, unlike the Streetsweeper and even the Jak-12, which is another popular shotgun, boasts the best 3-shot kill range of all the spam fast-firing shotguns. On its own, with no attachments, the Gallo has a max damage range of 4.5 meters and a 3-shot kill range of about 8.1. Now the Jak-12 extends with no attachments to about 7.1, and the Streetsweeper is now at a pitiful 5.8. The fire rate for the Gallo is around 232 rounds per minute, basically identical to the Origin, and that brings the time to kill to about 517 milliseconds based on my own time. The Jak-12 and the Streetsweeper both have it beat at roughly 400 milliseconds each for each of them, with the Streetsweeper getting that faster rate of fire barrel, putting it at about 367 milliseconds, but the range is again pretty piss poor now after that nerf. The thing about the Streetsweeper and the Jak-12 is that after that 3-shot kill range, the shots to kill goes to 5, so the time to kill jumps up to about 800 milliseconds in that 5-shot kill range, and about 734 for that faster Streetsweeper barrel. The Gallo jumps to 4 shots instead of 5, which puts it at about 776 milliseconds, and then 677 with that faster rate of fire. So the Gallo can kill faster technically outside of the Jak-12's max 3-shot range because of the 4-shot capability of the Gallo, but technically the Streetsweeper can still kill slightly faster than the Gallo with the faster rate of fire barrels, but barely. And again, for the 100th time, it lacks range, so I don't really recommend it as much now. So to sum all of that up, the Gallo may kill slightly slower up close compared to the Jak and the Streetsweeper, but the Gallo outshines the other two once you get a bit further out, making it a bit more reliable and more powerful at ranges. That is why I like the Gallo so much, because outside of that 3-shot kill range, the Jak and the Streetsweeper are just kind of pea shooters, and I really hate using them. They're still okay, but my preference has always been the Gallo for that reason. Also, the Jak-12 has LMG levels of movement speed with some attachments, which I absolutely hate, whereas the Gallo doesn't really take any big movement speed penalties from its attachments. It gets hit pretty minimally with a lot of different attachments. The downsides, of course, are the smaller magazine size, which is only 12 shells, and its reload is shell by shell, which can be pretty awful for some situations. I think for 1 to 2 people, the Gallo is easily the best shotgun, but when we get to fast multi-kills or groups of people, the Jak starts to be a bit more attractive of an option because of the magazine attachments like the 20 or 32 round magazine. Now because of the reload, you really got to play it smart and choose when to reload and when you're going to pull out the secondary, because it will absolutely get you killed in some situations. I like to be aggressive, and this is easily one of the hardest things about the Gallo to work with. If I had a magazine attachment, and then it's over for the Jak-12, the Gallo absolutely wins. Now let's talk class setups, of which I'm going to recommend 2, so you get a little bonus one. Now the first one is the traditional one you may have seen quite a bit at this point. Good range, mobility, and all that kind of stuff. The reinforced heavy barrel is going to give us about 12% more range and a faster rate of fire, and thus a faster time to kill. The Ember sighting point, which is a pretty popular attachment, gives you about the same range as well, and together those things give you roughly 22% more range. The agency choke does suppress your shots, but it it does hurt range also by about 4%, which isn't that much, so it's still a great attachment. We also have the 12-round magazine, which is pretty much essential, and then last is the no stock. The no stock gives the best sprint to fire speed of all the stocks and will help negate the Ember sighting point sprint to fire speed increase. It hurts it by about 1 frame or so we want to be as fast as possible while still keeping good range. Overall, this class can get 3 shots up to about 9.9-ish meters, which is pretty awesome. Now for this next build, it's going to be a bit more unorthodox, and really I'm just trying to kind of branch out and try some other nifty little attachments. So this build is going to be focused more on range specifically and having a great sprint to fire speed. First, use the Task Force barrel, which is the barrel that gives us the most range now, and the SOF target designator. Notice I didn't use the Ember sighting point, and I'll get to this in a second. Next, use the Marathon stock. The Marathon stock is actually a bit underutilized in my book because it gives you almost as much of a sprint to fire bonus as the no stock attachment. No stock took the sprint to fire speed down to about 12 frames from 18, and the Marathon stock was at about 13 or so. Plus, it gives you a shooting move speed and aiming move speed bonus, which are actually really nifty for a gun like this. And since we don't get the full sprint to fire speed bonus with no stock, we're going to use the target designator, which gives you 8% more range, and it doesn't hurt our sprint to fire speed, unlike the Ember sighting point. Because of that, we're still really mobile, and we get that awesome range from the Task Force barrel. Then the 12-round mag, of course, and I'm recommending the Flash Cone, which is kind of weird. It doesn't really hurt range, unlike the Agency Choke, and it helps keep the red dots off the radar for a shorter time than usual. It isn't fully suppressed, so you will show up on the radar when you shoot, but it really isn't for that long, and it can be pretty useful. The other muzzle attachments just don't really do much to help, so this is a good attachment to run. And the grips to help with aim down sight speed, I still don't really see a good use for them since these are mostly hipfire shotguns. This class can 3-shot up to about 10.2 meters roughly, and you get some nice bonuses from the stock and keep maximum range without the Agency Choke. I actually like this class a lot. The shooting move speed is really nice. It's not as good as the combat stock, but it's nice and it helps you if you aim down sights a lot, which I do like to do sometimes, even though it is more of a hipfire shotgun. Aiming down sights, especially if you're at that 9 to 10 meter range, can be really beneficial, and especially if you're like strafing around the map. So overall, the Gallo is easily one of the best, if not the best shotgun in Warzone currently, certainly against one person. So that is just about going to do it for this video. I feel like I've been talking a million miles an hour, but I hope you guys learned something useful from this. Now let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the Gallo? Do you think this is kind of the new contender for the best shotgun in Warzone? Do you still think that the Streetsweeper is king, or is the Jak-12 better? Or hey, maybe there's another shotgun that's hidden in the shadows that might come out at some point to play. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.